Welcome everyone. Welcome to our webinar for about very interesting topic. So regarding studying civil engineering and sustainability in Germany. And as always, it's me, Georgi, who will be mostly behind the scenes, but always here. And I will be the co-host / co-moderator of the webinar. And I'm joined with several guests from several German universities who will talk about their study programs in detail. And you have a unique opportunity, dear attendees, to ask your questions to our guests and get the best possible answers because they are most knowledgeable when it comes, of course, to these particular programs. And just to the newcomers who are not familiar with a Zoom webinar setting, you can see the Q&A button. It is just next to the chat button. So the Q&A button is the main button for you, dear attendees, throughout this 1 hour or so. So it is already open and you can send in your questions starting from now and until the very end of the webinar. And your questions will be addressed either live or in the written form. So after the presentations are done from our guests, so in around 45-50 minutes, we will have a live Q&A session and remaining questions will be addressed also live. And keep an eye on the chat as well. We'll be sending some interesting information also in the chat, some interesting links or contact details. So please also be attentive to that. So let me start actually with my part before I move to our guests. So as I said already, today we're talking about studying civil engineering and sustainability in Germany. And we have 3 guests today, actually. According to our agenda, we have Professor Dr. Ralf Arndt from Fachhochschule Erfurt, and he will talk about master program in sustainable engineering of infrastructure. Then we are moving to Karlsruhe Institute for Technology, so KIT, so to say, Professor Dr. Christoph Hilgers, and he will talk about Master of Science level program in Sustainable Energy Resources Storage, ERC program. And then we are moving to Technische Universität Berlin, TU Berlin, and we have Mohammed Abdel Fattah, who will talk about also Master of Science level program, but now in Civil Systems Engineering. Before we move to this most interesting part of our today's afternoon, let me tell you a few words about who is behind today's webinar. So it is My German University, and we are Germany's largest database when it comes to English taught study programs. When you visit our webpage, you will be able to find over 2,600 degree programs, all on bachelor level, also on master's level. And you can see on the left-hand side that we have also some short courses and language courses also listed in our database. Our main goal is to assist international students who would like to come and pursue a degree or do their language courses in Germany, for example. And we are doing this in this assistance through 3 key ways. One of them is through our study finder, and you can see a small version of our study finder in front of your screens right now with some of these filters. But when you go to our website and in the top left corner, you can see the study finder section. You click on it and you'll see the whole full version of our study finder with numerous filters, which will help you to find your program very much time efficiently and effectively according to your backgrounds and according to your interests. For example, you can control even for the programs that are using UniAssist to process applications or are not using UniAssist, the programs that are accepting, let's say, 6.5 IELTS score and those who are accepting 7.0 or TOEFL, different TOEFL scores, etc., etc. So it can go that much deeper. This is what I want to say. All right, the next way of helping you is through our articles. So we write up numerous articles, of course, regarding studying in Germany. Very comprehensive ones. We dig deep into this or that topic. For example, dual programs in Germany, Hochschulstart, language requirements, a letter of motivation, CV, blocked account, visa, scholarships in Germany, etc., etc. All of these details, all of these topics are covered, and you can access these articles actually for free. And my strong suggestion would be to do so. You can pair our webinars with the information from the articles, and then you will have quite a good knowledge on this or that topic when it comes to German education landscape. And last but not least, the third way of helping you is the one that you are also involved right now. It is webinars. We have over 150 webinars per year. Again, of course, on various topics. It can be scholarships, UniAssist, visa, general studying in Germany, or the subject webinars. The exact one that we are having today, but on different topic. So it can be studying civil engineering or electrical engineering or MBA or philosophy in Germany, etc., etc. All of the webinars that are already planned, already are on agenda. You can find them on our website in the section of webinars, and you can sign up for these webinars for free and attend them, of course, for free. And my suggestion would be also for you to open an account on our My German University page. It is also for free. Opening and maintenance both are free. By doing that, you'll be able to unlock all of the options that our website is able to offer you. Regarding our team, we are based in Hamburg in northern Germany, but we are also based in different parts of Germany, different towns and cities of Germany, and also in different parts of the world. And that's why we're also counseling in different languages. You can see some of the list of the languages in front of your screens right now. Okay, so for those who are also interested into German taught study programs, I would like to suggest you to also check out Hochschulkompass. There you might find some interesting programs related to civil engineering and sustainability. But for those who are more into English taught study programs, then I would say My German University and our Study Finder should definitely be your stop. We have lots of, you can see around 180-degree programs related to civil engineering and sustainable disciplines listed in our on our database, and you can see both bachelor level and master's levels are present, and most of them are English only, which means that you don't need knowledge of any German to get into these programs and successfully complete them. So I'm talking about most of the programs. Yes, also for those who do not know what to expect when it comes to studying these exact disciplines in Germany, civil engineering or sustainability, it's also a good first step for you that we prepared is our subject pages for all the subjects. You can, by visiting these pages, you will be able to see, for example, what are the rankings of universities that are offering these programs in these disciplines, or what are the tuition fee ranges that you should expect when you come to study in Germany on one of these programs, or what are the requirements like application, admission, or language requirements. So all of this generic information to have a bird eye view, so to say, and have a bigger picture of what does it mean to study these disciplines in Germany. I think it's a very nice first step for those who have no idea, so to say. And also, when you're searching for the program, our suggestion is always don't be guided only by single aspects. Like, for example, don't choose programs based only on rankings or based only on fees or cities that they are located, universities are located in, right? So you have to take into account all of this together and much more based on your backgrounds, based on your interests, based on your aspirations, so to say, and only then make a decision. Only then you'll be able to make an informed decision, which is crucial for your future career also. I wanted to underline that there are two key types of universities in Germany. It's Universität type of university, and also University of Applied Sciences. In English, it's called like this, but in German it can have some variations. So what is the difference between Universität or university type and University of Applied Sciences type? So key difference that I want you to know about is in focus. So when it comes to Universität type of university, generally focus lies more on research and theory. And in case of University of Applied Sciences, the focus goes more into application and practice. And one last thing that I wanted to mention from my side is that I mentioned some of the aspects that you have to take into account while searching for the program. Also, when you are finding the programs through our Study Finder, please make sure to be more flexible with wording. Don't be too strict. And by doing that, you'll make sure for sure that you are aware of every program, of all the opportunities that Germany is able to offer you in that given direction. And then you will drastically increase your chances of making a right decision, informed decision while choosing the program for your bachelor's or for your master's. So that was all from my side. I will have a small shift of the agenda, and we will start with our guests from Karlsruhe Institute of Technology right now. So you can see on the map where we are moving from the northern Germany to quite south of Germany, very close also to the French border, you can see, and it's Professor Dr. Christoph Hilgers. He will talk about Master of Science level program in Sustainable Energy Resources Storage.
My name is Chris. I'm a professor of structural geology, rock squeezing basically, and I want to show you some slides on our master program, Sustainable Energy, Raw Materials and Storage. at KIT. And there was in the introduction the distinction between the University of Applied Sciences and the traditional universities and so forth. And KIT is somehow in between. It was founded in 1825, one of the oldest universities of technology. So it is a leading university both in terms of theory and application. So now I should move on somehow. I mean, why do we have the program? And the reason is that we have these global challenges. And you see with the little icons that there are 17 global challenges. And there is number 13, climate, but most important one, of course, is zero hunger, which is number 1, enough to eat, good health, water, education, and so forth. And if you see the bars from 1915 on the left-hand side to 2100 on the right-hand side, you see the global population is increasing. When I was born, there were 4 billion people on Earth. Nowadays, we are 8 billion people on Earth. And in 2100, we will be 11 billion people on Earth. And these people need food, they need education, and they need a good life. So according to UN, the increase, for example, in metal demand will double from 9 billion tons nowadays to 20 billion tons. So the challenges are impressive. Meanwhile, hunger is getting less and less, but still hundreds of million people have hunger. Many people have no housing, many people have no electricity, nor do they have infrastructure. And here, people talk about hydrogen, IT, Green Deal, and so forth, and that all is involved in more energy, more raw materials, more recycling to feed the demand, and that is a challenge. And here at KIT, which, as I mentioned, was founded in 1825, is basically centered in the heart of Europe. We established that University of Technology in 1825, and it's the 3rd oldest in the world. First was Paris, then Hungary, then us. And nowadays, we are quite large. The student number is okay. It's 22,000 students with 10,000 staff. And our operation funds is 1.1 billion euros per year. So the university is quite big. We have lots of infrastructure. Here you see the city center. The Green Yard is basically our castle in Karlsruhe, and the university is distributed around the city here. And then we have some branch campus, which you see on the lower picture, the upper picture, where we have our high-tech infrastructure being based. And the lower one is our institute within KIT, where we have about 110 staff. So how do we train students? And I mentioned we do theory and we are applied. So we work with mining. We do things like lithium extraction from groundwater. We consult people who do deep well drilling and mining, surface and subsurface. And that is all with an application behind. So you would end up in mining or in oil and gas, in geothermal, in underground storage, construction, tunneling, you basically name it. And one thing to address is that our language of instruction is English only English. Whereas I think you should consider, if you consider to work in Germany, our experience is that then you would also need to wrap up some German. And I would really then recommend you, whatever kind of study you take, to take additionally some German classes if you want to continue your career in Germany. Yeah, KIT is one of the oldest universities of technology in the world. It is ranked #1 in our study program for the German institutes. We have large-scale infrastructure and it's the University of Excellence. And our department's focus is on geoenergy, so providing the energy population needs, the raw materials that we make the transitions happen, and large-scale storage in the subsurface. But let me come to the program. Our master program in Germany is not like the UK 1 year, it's 2 years. And in the final year, you have to write your own independent research thesis, which takes about 6 months out of these 4 semesters or 2 years. To enter our program, you need a B2. I don't know, but my friends here, they know what it is in TOEFL or IELTS index. I think it's 5.5 in IELTS. The admission time is actually right now, and lectures start in mid-October. And it's 2 semesters per year. And the tuition fees in our state is about 1,500 euros per semester. So it's 3,000 euros per year for that study. So what do we offer in our department? We have top-notch infrastructure in terms of lab facilities. So whatever you want to measure, you can measure in our institute or in the institutes around. And then we quite frequently go out into the field that the students see the applications. For example, nearby now we have a deep drilling project, which is 15 minutes drive from our institutes, where they drill a well 3.8 kilometers deep to extract hot water from the subsurface and heat cities with that hot water and get rid of oil and gas for heating purposes. We have international field trips to Oman last year, to Brazil 2 years ago, and Iceland 3 years ago. And we go into mines, into the subsurface, that people really know what's going on in real life. The social events at KIT are also quite important, right? Every time on the weekend, in summertime, there's some sort of event on our campus. We have our Paulke Football Cup, football match, and that is related to one of our professors, previous professors. That is the chap which is shown on the picture on the right. He was a professor in the early 20th century at our department, and he invented basically skiing, was a famous mountaineer and so forth, and that is to honor his achievements at our university. So we feel that the sustainable use of the environment is important, more in the future than today, and we have to tackle it in a responsible way. And for that, we need to understand how the Earth is actually working. I have seen that in terms of population growth and welfare, we are on a good track. Population is going to increase, people get older, welfare is increasing, and it's our duty to sustain the Earth in a way and extract in a proper way what's needed. So these are the few slides I wanted to share with you, and I'm open to any questions you might have in the chat. Thanks so much.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Professor, for your presentation. Very compact and informative. With that, let me move now to our next speaker. Let me once again share my screen and introduce once again Mohammed Abdel Fattah from TU Berlin. So, and he will now talk about Master of Science level program in Civil Systems Engineering. And yeah, you can see also on the map where the university is located. And with that, I'm handing it over to Mohammed, please.
Good afternoon, everybody. Here is Mohammed Abdel Fattah. And today I will be introducing the Masters in Civil Systems Engineering provided by the Technical University of Berlin, Civil Systems Engineering Department. So before we go, what is going to be covered today is I'm going to take you briefly in a journey to our master's program, and then I will be happy to have any questions at the end of the webinar if you have. So first of all, how we are. So our CSE teaching team consists of mainly 3 people. First one is Professor Timo Hartmann. He is the department chair, and he is a professor in civil engineering. And me, who is a lecturer and also a PhD researcher in the department. We also have Taisi, who is another lecturer in our department. And if you scan this QR code, you will have all information about our department, all the research that is going on, and so on. And because I'm speaking today, I will a little bit introduce myself more so that you can know who will be your teachers maybe in the program. So I have done my master's degree in engineering for sustainable development in the University of Cambridge, where I was a graduate researcher in engineering for sustainable development department. And currently I'm doing my PhD I'm really interested in complex systems engineering, smart cities, digital twins, infrastructure resilience, and hazard mitigation and disaster management. I have over 8 years of teaching experience. So of course, you will be in a good hand in terms of teaching. So at the moment, I'm teaching civil systems engineering master's modules, which I'll be talking about later on. I have extensive experience in research about sustainability applications in engineering practices. Also, organizational change in terms of sustainability experience in the UK and Egypt in the Middle East. I've also done a couple of projects on application of digital twins to infrastructure resilience, and also multi-national projects between Germany, Egypt, UK, and so on. In terms of the professional experience, I have over 6 years of professional experience working in mega projects as sustainability consultant in Germany, UK, in the Middle East, and Canada as well. And I've been manager in different companies in Egypt and in the KSA as well. In the UK, I worked as renewable energy consultant after finishing my master's degree in engineering for sustainable development. My area of interest or my area of expertise lies into digital engineering, systems engineering, smart cities, infrastructure resilience, and so on. So if you are interested, you can reach me out by scanning this QR code, and I'm very happy if you are interested in doing research. I'm happy to supervise you. So first of all, what is CSE? What is civil systems engineering? Because recently I haven't heard much about civil systems engineering, unfortunately, although it's really, really important. And a lot of students don't really know what is the difference between civil engineering and civil systems engineering. So if I can simplify this, civil engineering is an umbrella, and civil systems engineering is a specialized discipline under that, which is really important to study complex systems, because nowadays our infrastructure systems, buildings, and so on are connected together, interconnected, interdependent, and they are so complex. So imagine, let's say, a transportation infrastructure system. Imagine a railway system moving from Berlin, where I am at the moment, to, let's say, Frankfurt. And then there is a disruption in the system, for example. So imagine the catastrophic events that might happen to people, or maybe in case of any emergency happening, any hazard, any whatever happens to these systems. So they are very complex, they are really interconnected together, and we need to study them deeper and deeper, because without that, we will be still in a shallow level where we just like do some very like shallow studies about the problems. So what are the main components or key components of civil systems engineering? So we have here 4 main components. So number 1 is systems-based approach. So we consider all parts of the systems and interconnections. So if you study a building, for example, you study every part of the building, how they are interconnected together, how they are related to each other. If a problem happens to this part, what is going to happen to the other parts? And this is really important because you never know. You never know what happens to a building or to an infrastructure. And if you never know, you will never know how to deal with it. So our goal is to, in systems approach, is to have efficient, sustainable infrastructure development. And of course, we have computing methods. So in order to do that, you need to improve your computing methods. So we are really, really deep into data analytics for decision making. And when I talk about data analytics for civil engineers, I mean, this is like something that is really unique at the moment, because a very few people are specialized at that. So I think this is quite interesting to students to know how to use data in our civil engineering departments and our civil engineering problems. So we're using data like machine learning, deep learning, AI, and so on, so that we can have the most and the best outcomes of our systems. Also, one of the main important factors in the civil systems engineering is the parametric modeling and stochastic modeling. And here we have understanding of the multi-physical system processes and interactions between system components. That's what I just talked about. And of course, it's not, as I just said, it's not traditional civil engineering. It's not traditional like planning and so on. So it's a modern way of civil engineering that provides insight, deep insight into the problems and into the complex systems. So these are the main components. This is like brief introduction to you so that you can understand what you're to study in the end of the program. So the overall aim of the civil systems engineering is to have resilient infrastructure for improved outcomes, for improved systems and services to people, because infrastructures, buildings, and so on are providing services to people. So we want to make sure that these services can be provided in the best way. And this is civil systems engineering. So key facts about our master's program. So number one, it's international, which means it's fully taught in English. And of course, TU Berlin is a public university. And here in Berlin, the semester fees is around like 250 and something like that. So over the year, you will pay only like 500 for the semester fees. Duration of the program is 2 years. It's 4 semesters. Ideally, of course, some students feel free to extend their programs, for example, or take more time to study if they are having like a full-time job or part-time job, because we really encourage the students to work and to have extensive experience during our studies. So you need to know that our programs are research-based. Our modules are research-based. So no exams at the end of the semester, no exams at the end of the modules. You will be trained to do research projects. You will be trained on practical projects from companies. So we have collaborations with different companies. We have collaborations with Tesla, Deutsche Bahn, and many other construction and civil engineering companies. You also need to know that our program is very flexible, which means if you are interested in water engineering, for example, you can take whatever you want from the elective courses. So, and you can write your master thesis in the end about water engineering. If you are, on the other hand, interested in infrastructure resilience, you can also do that. So we are very flexible. So we are not, at the end of the program, you will have the skills that you will be able to apply into any specific engineering problem. But if you are interested in a specific area, for example, as I just said, you can like move the program and take whatever you want from the electives. You need to know also that the program is multidisciplinary, which have like integrated and collaborative work. So you need to know that you will have a lot of teamwork within our program. So you will deal with a lot of other colleagues, and you will know how to be a very good team member. And then what we're looking for. What we're looking for from you, we are very open that we can admit anyone from any country. We are not strict to a specific country. In fact, we encourage applications from like international universities, from lower representative countries, whatever they are, and we are happy to accept applications from everybody. But you need to have 4 main skills. You need to be open-minded, because you will be in an international environment. You can be sitting on a table with like a person from the Middle East and a person from Asia and a person from the US, for example, and a person from Europe. And you need to know how to deal with this. So you need to be open-minded. You need to be working in a team, in an integrated team. You need to be open-minded as well, because you might be working with an architect. You are a civil engineer and you're working with an architect, or maybe another one from project management and so on. So this is very important. Another very important part is to be able to think out of the box, because we have a lot of challenges in our modules. Then you need to be creative. You need to confront challenges very well. If you don't like that, please don't apply. If you don't like to be challenged into problems, if you don't like to learn every day new things, if you don't like at the end of the program to be an expert in civil systems engineering, if you're not enthusiastic about our program or our like modules, please don't apply to that, because you will not make it in the end if you're not interested to do it. Okay, and that's really, really important part, because we are interested in people that are really, really enthusiastic and interested in confronting new challenges every day and learn every day and improve their skills. And of course, you need to have a sense of logical thinking, like logical reasoning and logical thinking as well. So this is a set of skills that you need to have in the end. A very brief structure about our master's program. You can have full information if you scan this QR code as well. We have a system in TU Berlin that is called Moses. And in this system, you can look for the program that you want to study, for example. So our program is called Civil Systems Engineering. And if you go there, you will have all the information in English and German as well. So you will have all the information about compulsory modules, for example, compulsory electives, and so on. But if you scan this QR code now, you can have this information. So a brief introduction about the structure. So we have compulsory courses. Compulsory courses here, what we call as the basics or the minimum that any engineer at this level should know. So we have like 5 courses, 5 modules that you should know at the moment. So the first one is Agile Civil Systems Engineering, how to think agile in your engineering projects. And this is extremely important. And we see that there are a lot of teams in different companies that's called Agile teams, because it's really important to think agile and to know how to achieve the best outcome of the project with the minimal or with the minimum like impacts, or with the minimum effort from. And this is first. And secondly, modeling civil engineered systems, multiphasics, and whole life civil systems analysis. And all these 3 modules are specifically for modeling and simulation of civil systems. So modeling and simulations, for example, for infrastructure systems, bridges, waterways, like wastewater treatments, buildings, and so on. So you will learn how to model these buildings. You will learn how to optimize these buildings to have a decision in the end. If you have a problem, for example, what is the best design to be used in a specific project? So you will learn how to model these designs and to compare between them, and then you have a decision in that. This decision in reality might like save millions and millions of dollars. So this is extremely important. And in order to train, you have to do project module and so on. So we have something that is called project modules. And the project module, you are trained how to write an essay, for example, how to do a project, how to do a research, and so on. So these are the compulsory courses that you will have to do in your master's program with us. And also we have a wide range of compulsory electives. You have to do 3 of those. In our department, and this is from our department and other departments as well. In our department, we are providing circular economy for the built environment, and we are providing data analytics for civil engineers, and also integrated collaborative civil systems engineering. Other courses, you can choose from different departments what is really interests you, for example, and then you can take it. And of course, you have electives. As I said, if you want to take, for example, if you want to be specialized in water, energy, sustainability, whatever you have a wide range of different electives, which you can choose from. So, and also we have language compulsory. So at the end of your program, because learning language is extremely important for our students. So at the end of the program, you will have to finish at least 3 compulsory language courses. So for example, if you don't know any German language, because our program is entirely in English, we don't require German language, but it's still in the program, you will learn and you will challenge yourself and you will learn German. So at the end of the program, probably you will be at least B2. And then you are ready to work in companies, because German is very important. If you, after graduation, for example, if you want to work with companies, it is really important to do that. Again, in order to have a full information about each one of those modules, you can just scan this QR code and have all information. So if we want to propose something for our students for a 2-year program, so here we go. So the first semester, which is the winter semester, which starts in October, the first day of October. So we have 3 compulsory courses, which is product modeling, process modeling, and life cycle analysis. And you have compulsory elective course, which you can choose, as we said, and you have language 1. Semester number 2, you have 2 compulsory modules, you have 2 compulsory electives, and language 2, which should be, for example, A2, and so on. And semester number 3, you have the opportunity to challenge yourself in whatever you want. If you want to specialize in, as I said, renewable energies, if you want to specialize in engineering, project management, and water engineering, and whatever, you can select 4 electives that are suitable for you. And in the end, you will write your master's thesis. So this is what you should do in order to graduate from our program. However, as I said, if you find yourself like, I cannot finish in 2 years, for example, then you can finish in 3 years, 4 years, but we really encourage students to finish as soon as they can, so that they can go to the work environment as soon as possible. All right, so what are the entry requirements for our program? So we have 4 main requirements. Number 1, bachelor's degree in civil engineering, architecture, or any subject-related courses. So if you see yourself a civil engineer, studied a civil engineering course, or architecture, or anything in the construction industry, we are happy to receive your application. English is a very important part of our program. Why? Because we are research-based. So we need people who are very efficient in English language. And then we need C1 in English, which is, for example, 7 in the IELTS course, for instance. Really important. Why? Because if you are not efficient in English, you will not be able to write essays, you will not be able to participate in project assignments and so on. And then we want to help you. Then this is a very important requirement for our program. And then 2 academic recommendation letters from your professors at the university or lecturers, whatever. And then at the end, we need to know, why are you interested in our program? And then throw a motivation letter. Of course, you can find us on UniAssist, and then you can provide all the documents. So the application process starts usually in March or April. I'm not quite sure about the exact date, because this is dependent on the year, but the application deadline is usually 15th of May. And then in June, we will do the interviews for students, applicants, and then in July, you will have the acceptance letter so that you can start in October. We only accept the students in the winter semester. If you want to have more information, you can scan this QR code. Thank you very much. I think I've covered most of the things, or I'm happy to answer.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much, Mohammed. Very comprehensive presentation. Lots of questions already addressed within your presentation, which is great. Okay, so let me start then jump into the Q&A session right now, because there are plenty of questions for both. And thank you also, Professor, for taking your time to address already quite a lot of questions there. Let me start with question for professor, actually. It's not directly program related, but there are two questions about that. So maybe you have some information to provide to the students. Professor Hilgers, is it correct that the Baden-Württemberg Land is planning to drop the fees that you mentioned, 1,500 euros for international students?
Yes, that is correct. They are planning to drop it, but they haven't decided yet in the parliament.
Yeah, okay, great.
We hope that for the winter term, it's gone.
Oh, nice. Very good. So students, that's very good news for you, for those who are planning for Baden-Württemberg. So next question is, let me ask both of you. Let me start with maybe Mohammed. So is there official like thesis defense? Does it take place at your program?
So actually, this used to happen in the past, but at the moment for the new students, this is no longer a requirement. So congratulations to any student program. You don't have to defend your master thesis because actually, I really agree with this because this is something of a PhD level.
Okay, good to know. Thanks. And what about KIT?
We have a defense, and I think it's nice that the students present their results and that we discuss it. It's part of the academic education system, and once you're on a job, you also have to defend what you plan. So it's a good training.
So
and everybody's happy afterwards.
We have one yes and one no, 50-50. Let's move forward with that. Professor, let me stay with you. A question from Nathan. In KIT, are there any internship opportunities embedded into the program?
We ask students to do internship. It's not part of the program, but we request them to do so. And it's optional because there's time, which is the limiting factor, right? Yeah. Most of the time, the students have the semesters, then they do their examinations in the terms in between, and there's hardly any time left.
Yeah, understandable. Thanks. Mohammed, now question for you. Not program related, but Berlin life related. Is it possible to survive in Berlin with English only?
Of course. Of course, it's an international city. So in Berlin, you can meet a person from like international countries. It's an international city where you can like, as I said, you can sit on a table with people from Asia, from Europe, from the US, from the Middle East, and so on. And it's also full of a lot of restaurants and very nice restaurants from different cuisines as well. So of course you can survive with English. I think like the major cities in Germany, Berlin, Frankfurt, München, for example, you can survive in English. Yeah.
Okay.
And specifically, I'm talking from experience because I came from abroad as well.
Yeah. Okay, great.
I agree with Mohammed that in Berlin, you don't need to speak German. I mean, if you don't speak English and German, you may be lost.
Yeah.
But we have international students here at KIT as well. The city is not that large, right? I mean, we have 300,000 inhabitants, and Berlin, Mohammed, is a few million, right?
Yeah.
See, our city is a bit smaller,
yeah,
but our international students come along quite well.
Yeah, great. Yeah, I mean, you can survive. Yeah, I've heard also stories about Berlin myself that English is enough usually, but yeah, in other parts, of course, you will not get lost. No worries. Let me stay with Mohammed and ask him this question. So I'm planning to collect experience during studies. So how many extra semesters can I take?
So I think this is related to the Berlin law, I guess. So it's for all public universities in Berlin. It's open, so you don't have like a limitation about the number of semesters you can take to finish your master's program, for example. But we really push students to finish as soon as possible. And just good news is we have a lot of internships. We have opportunities, collaborations with different companies, as I said, with Tesla, with Deutsche Bahn, with Arup, with the like major construction companies. So from my experience with our students, the majority of our students actually work in internships or with us in the like research team, for example, as research assistants during finishing the masters. And we really want them to finish as soon as possible. But of course, they have the opportunity like to finish in whatever they want. This is low in Berlin.
Mm-hmm. Okay, good to know. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Mohammed. Now a question for Professor Higas. Professor, are there any limited spots in your program? So for example, are you saying that you are accepting 30 students or there's not this kind of limitation?
We have no limitation, but I think this program, we have about 20 to 30 students. That's the limitation we have. And then it depends on the quality and interest of the students.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And regarding the regulations, in a sense of federal state or in Germany, each state has its own regulations. Like Mohammed said, in Berlin, you can study as long as you want. Here in the southern part of Germany, you cannot. I mean, you have to push it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, dear attend is also it's completely true. So when you can check also within the whole umbrella of regulations of the universities, where you can see, for example, is it 7 semesters, is it 10 semesters, or is it 5 semesters that you can have in total? So they are really different based on the universities as well, and on the lands as well, of course. For TU Berlin, how many ECTS are dedicated to electives courses? Mohammed, any information on that? You are muted.
Okay, I think precisely you should look at the website, because I don't really remember the numbers. Mm-hmm. This is a quite difficult question.
That's totally fine.
Yeah, all information of ECTS and credit points on is publicly available on Moses. Just share.
Mm-hmm. Okay, great, thanks. So now for the KIT, question from Doin. Is the KIT program the same or similar to the MSc Civil Engineering degree? Because looking at the KIT website for civil engineering says that the degree is taught in German. Thank you.
Yes, she's right. My colleagues, civil engineering, we are on the same faculty. They have no program in civil engineering yet. Mm-hmm. We are discussing also to introduce civil engineering programs, but there is no program yet. One reason being, and Mohammed mentioned that, and that is why they do that German language thing, that there are many job opportunities in Germany for any kind of natural sciences or engineering job, also for civil engineering. But in Germany, as I mentioned before, you need to speak German because of regulations and so forth. And that is important. That is why our program in civil engineering is taught in German. And that is why Mohammed offers then that you can grab German during your English language course, right, Mohammed?
Yeah. Yes, of course. So students can take like 3 compulsory courses, and of course we push them to take German. And then, from my experience, majority of our students be B2 at the end of the study, and then they are like ready to work right after the program. So it's really important. Without German, they cannot survive in the German market. Of course, there are some international companies out there, but they are very little, and they are seeking like managerial levels, for example, or very high levels. So it's really difficult for master students to compete without German.
Yeah, completely true. Thanks for the insights. Another 2 questions from our students. What is the level of statistics you expect from students? And do you have any entrance interview or test, Professor Hilges?
We don't have interviews yet. We make it paper-based. And I also noted in the chat, the additional information is down there as a link.
And regarding the level of statistics, do you expect any high level of statistics knowledge from students?
No, we don't need a high level of statistics. We just need some courses in mathematics.
Okay, clear. And Mohammed, in your case, you mentioned interview, right?
We don't have requirements for statistics, of course. We don't have that. But for interviews, yeah, it's a part of the selection process. So basically, because we usually have like many students or many applicants. So usually every year we have like 300, 400 applicants. and we only admit like 40, 35. So by law, we need to, if we have the double the number of eligible applicants, we need to interview them so that we can see like who is really eligible. And I think interview is something that is really important to challenge the students and to see them like face to face and to see how they are interacting. So yeah, it's a part of the selection process.
Okay, great. Thank you. So I see now very interesting question from very interesting person. Actually, it's Ralf Arndt, our professor, who was supposed also to do the third presentation. Professor, you can do the presentation. Please, I sent you the link in the chat by email. So please, if you manage to join, we'll be happy to do your presentation and then to make a separate Q&A for you. I hope you can hear me and you can rejoin with the link as a not as an attendee, but as a panelist. And my colleague Nino was also in touch with you. She also sent you a link. Please let us know whether it works out. Let me continue for now with the questions. Is there any limitation for your programs? Is this question from Milad. Mohammed, let me start with you.
What do you mean by limitations?
So if I'm 40 years old, or 60 years old, can I get into your program still?
Yes.
Yes.
There is no limitation. Age is just a number.
I like these words. That's really popular. And Professor, I suppose that in your case also there is no limitation.
Same, yes.
Yes, okay. And I will move now to our guests from Fachhochschule Erfurt. And dear attendees, you can see where we are now located on the map, quite we can say geographically center of Germany, more or less. Professor Dr. Ralf Arndt, and he will talk about Master's Level Program in Sustainable Engineering of Infrastructure. Professor Arndt, it's very good to see you, and please take the floor.
In Erfurt, and our program is Sustainable Engineering of Infrastructure. It's a Master in Civil Engineering in 3 semesters. We have now our 3rd class, so we started actually 2 years ago, and the 3rd class will be in April next year, so we always start in summer. What was the motivation to start this class? Basically, sustainability, climate change, the scarcity of resources, the consolidation of metropolitan areas, digitalization, and globalization, which all leads to tasks for civil engineers, solutions by civil engineers, and in the end also for starting this program in Erfurt. There are maybe more, but I try to compromise 5 reasons why you should maybe consider to study Sustainable Engineering of Infrastructure, SEI. It's the University of Applied Sciences Erfurt, short FHE. Yeah, that means FHE means in German Fachhochschule, which means University of Applied Sciences. So first reason, to become an expert in sustainable civil engineering. Second, later I will go on all these points in more detail. Second, to have bright career options, then to practice with state-of-the-art tools and hands-on programs, to complete a practical specialization, and in the end, write your master's thesis while working in engineering and construction companies. So first, to become an expert in sustainable engineering, we started this program, SEI, which we think is a quite unique program that teaches students relevant topics such geodesign, natural resources depletion and protection. There is a spelling mistake, urban water management, building in existing contexts, etc. You see the full program here. It's in 3 semesters. So you see here BIM, BIM, pavement maintenance, numerics, construction economics, and natural resources in the 1st semester. Then we have geodesign, ground improvement and piling, urban water management, hydraulic engineering, and my own topic, infrastructure diagnostic and conservation in the 2nd term. We also have electives, of course, and one of our focus is actually the practical specialization, which runs through all 3 semesters. Then we have, of course, also communication and social skills, and in the end, the master's thesis. So talking about the 2nd point, have a bright career options. So as a graduate of our SEI program, you'll gain theoretical and practical skills that will open the door to work in relevant fields such as planning, drafting, calculation, and management of civil engineering and infrastructure projects. The third reason I mentioned was practice with state-of-the-art tools and hands-on programs. So our Department of Civil Engineering at the University of Applied Sciences Erfurt has plenty of specialist planning laboratories and state-of-the-art computer labs and pools. For example, my own materials testing lab and diagnostics lab, our BIM lab, geodesign lab, geotechnic, pavement, environmental and water hydraulics labs, etc. As I mentioned before, the practical specialization is the focus. As when I go back a couple of slides, you will see that we not really have subjects that add on each other and no deep focus. But with the practical specialization, with a professor or two of our department, or even outside practical companies, you can go deep into one subject that interests you more than the others, and you can work there for this for 3 semesters in this together with a professor. So this is a practical specialization. Then of course you can add on top of this your master thesis and go deep in the subject, or you might say, okay, I was actually interested in another subject and I would like to do that in my master thesis. There are 5 more reasons to study at FHE. So first, you get an engineering education and degree made in Germany. Our full program is in English language. We have close collaboration with our basic school owned language center for preparing students in international and or German context. And what was mentioned before, it's a public school also, like TU Berlin. It's a public state school in Thüringen, so there are no study fees. And of course, Erfurt is not like multi-culti, maybe like Berlin, but it's a beautiful medieval city in the classical heart of Germany. So some overview about some boundary conditions. So it's a Master of Engineering degree. Application is open at the moment. It's usually once a year from May to September. We changed this 2 years ago because the time was too short. You also, of course, apply through Uni Assist. They do the application for us, and then again it starts in April usually for 90 credits and 1.5 years. What are the requirements? We have requirements, so we only take civil engineers with a good bachelor's degree, and good means in German grading, so it's a 2.59 actually in German grades, which is usually the inverse of GPA grades. Also, we require a 7 semesters master's bachelor's degree with 210 CP. Yeah, so this in the ECTPS systems, that's a European credit transfer and accumulation system, which during Bologna we all agreed to follow in Europe. If you have a program bachelor's degree with less, you can still participate in our program, especially if you have already practical experience. You can we can accept that for 1 year, or you can do or might do in between 2 studies 16-week internship engineering placement. You can also do this as a kind of 4th semester in our program in Germany if you're interested to do that, and we would help you to set you up. We have also language requirements. It's no German requirement, although we recommend our students to learn German, and we offer courses in our language center to learn German. This is a level B2. It's a practical oriented study. That's why it's not research applied. And you see different types, ways how you can achieve this language requirement. Of course, also if you used to live in a country where English is an administrative language, or if you studied your bachelor's degree in English language, that would be accepted as well. As I mentioned, we have no study fees. It's comparable what my colleague said before for Berlin. So it changes every year a couple of euros for the semester fees. The main part of it is actually public transportation. So there is about 70, in total, it's about 260 something euro. 74 is for the student services, so administration. And then you have very complex because they changed a lot in German rail. So there is this year the rail ticket included, the DB Regio, so that you can all over Germany, you travel with regional trends. And there is a special offer in Thüringen or Erfurt, the public transportation for about 100 euro, and another add-on Thüringen ticket for 12 euros. So most of it is basically transportation. Then you have some culture ticket, and that is basically for activities in Erfurt, where you have as a student then special low prices. And then student council support of our, because we have a democratic university with high participation of student activity in committees, and we support them with also some finances. Then we have something which is called Tosca card, with an administrative card where you can use that you need actually to go to the library and the cantina. And I think if you apply for Uni Assist, you have, for the first time, you need to pay 75 euro. And then for each application, for example, if you apply for TU Berlin first or us first, you would pay 75. And if you then apply for us or for them, the next one, and after that would be 30 euros. That's what I just checked with the website. So there's no change. Something about our university. So it's a Fachhochschule still, which means University of Applied Science. Founded in the former GDR, so it is former East Germany. Actually, so it was refounded after German reunification in October 1991. And as a Fachhochschule, University of Applied Sciences, it's a combination of scientific education and practice-oriented applications. So what we try to do, or what we think we have done, is we have established a modern practice-oriented university with good reputation. The last J ranking, I think, in civil engineering, we were top 1 and 2 or something like that. Usually we are always top 10 of 40 universities of applied science. Modern mission statement, front places in national rankings, which I mentioned already. So there are also numerous crucial contacts to economy, intensive networking in city and region, as well as growing international charisma, also partly due to this program. Of course, we recommend, as mentioned before, strongly that our students learn German, because that makes life and working in Germany so much easier. Particularly noteworthy is a very good cooperation with our regional companies, institutes, and institutions. The new master's degree, we think, guarantees an effective, tight course of study that enables a quick path to professional practice, and at the same time opens the door to further academic education. Application-oriented teaching together with practice-oriented research, that's what basically is the University of Applied Sciences, optimally prepare students for their future professional activity. That's what we strongly believe, and what our partners in industry also tell us. Extensive offerings for learning languages, intercultural competence, key and basic qualifications around our offer. Thus, we think, and I believe, the University of Applied Sciences Erfurt is at the same time a university with tradition and future with practice-oriented and up-to-date education. Something about our campus before I will finish with talking a little bit about our city. So you see maybe here in the middle, so it's an old town. We have a very beautiful old town, and we are at the main campus, Altonaer Straße here. Which is this rectangular campus with this green campus with a park inside. You see also the architects, they have their own Hogwarts building, a little separate, and we also have a green campus. there are a lot of faculties. I will not talk too much about all the other faculties. Of course, our teaching comprises lectures, exercises, seminars, practical trainings in labs, and so forth. And yeah, as I said, it's not Berlin, but Erfurt is a very nice city, located, as Georgie said, right in the, or very close to the geographical center of Germany, in the old East German state of Thuringia. It's a capital, a state capital. I think it's now about 216,000 citizens or something. So we have a very good public transportation, schools, universities, and so forth because of that. It's a medieval university city. Our most famous student of Erfurt was Martin Luther. He was a study at the University of Erfurt. We are the University of Applied Sciences. It's usually elected top 5 nicest old towns in Germany. I think we had, when I last looked, place 3 in Travelbook 2019, and in cities, I think more than 200,000. We were even on top 1. The very famous city of Weimar, where Goethe, Schiller, and so forth lived, is about 20 minutes, 15 minutes train ride, or 20 minutes car ride away, part of the public transportation. Berlin is about 1 hour 45 minutes, Frankfurt, Munich, and so forth, 2 hour 30 minutes. So we are right in the center. Also, it's now a new train center. The optimal, so I believe it's the optimal location in the state that gives students the opportunity to access a variety of job opportunities by enjoying the nice environment, nightlife, pubs, and surroundings. Our parties are famous as well, at least here, what our students do. Yeah, so any questions you might have to me, I'm very happy to answer. And yes, I invite you to come to Erfurt and study at in our wonderful city and a great university. And I apologize for my voice because I have actually still COVID.
Hello, once again, Professor, and thanks very much for your presentation. I hope you are now feeling better.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes we think that COVID is a thing of past, but it's still somewhere around, unfortunately. I hope it's not serious.
No, it's long, but it's soft.
That's good. That's good. Soft one
Yeah.
is okay one. Okay, Professor. Then we have some questions exactly for you, and I will take the last 5 minutes that we have, and let us address these questions.
Yeah.
So the first one is, Professor, bachelor's degree in English. Could it be from any country? The question is.
Yes. Definitely, any country. We just require a good grading. So you have to follow, it's called Bavaria formula, where you can transform your own grading to the German system. Usually it's the opposite. Like our best grade is a 1 and our worst is a 5. So like in the US, it's opposite way around. So the best is, so you always have to consider this. Usually, when you're good in your country or very good, you're also good in Germany, but it's just the numbers are just worst. Yeah, so it's sometimes a little confusing. Yeah.
That's completely correct. And also in the chat, I just put also one of the GPA calculators that you can use.
Yes, I see that. Yes, thank you so much. Yes.
Yeah, welcome. And then you can see where approximately your GPA stands according to German system. So I saw on UniAssist website a thesis is a part of the documents for the admission process. My question is it mandatory?
Thesis not, the thesis not, but we discussed a lot what to do. Yeah, so at first we didn't expect that so many interested, that there are so many interests here. So we thought about the process of selecting students. So one is the grade, and the other is we require you to write an expose. So in the expose should be, if you have a bachelor's thesis, it should be on the topic of your bachelor's thesis. If you don't have bachelor's thesis because you are more project oriented, you should do that and write an essay on your like project, bachelor's project or something like that. And we require about not more than 7,500 characters. So it's about 5-6 pages, which we require. That's how we want to evaluate applicants, apart from just following the grade, because we all know that universities grade very differently. So that's how we try to get some how do you say, evaluation into that, because our, maybe that I should mention as well, I forgot to mention that we have a limited access program. So at the moment we have 20 slots per year. So we once in April we start, and we have about 20 students, places for students in the program. So we have to select the best.
Fair enough. Thank you, Professor. And Professor, what are the software programs? Maybe briefly, if you could say software programs that are the part of the course.
So we have a strong focus on BIM. There we will use Revit, of course. Although Professor Astor uses a lot of Revit. So then what else? So we have I think in numerics, we have a new professor there who starts actually the next spring. I'm not sure what he will use, but we have ANSYS, we have COMSOL, and we have all different types of software there. Also, we have the typical software. I cannot say what my colleagues, right? So they always say, okay, we have this hydraulic software, we have this pavement software. So I'm not fully in the details, also geoscience. But basically, we have the state-of-the-art software in our school for students.
Okay, let me take 2 more questions and then we can call it a day. Dear Professor, on the page of the program, you mentioned time for self-study in parallel with lectures. Can you please mention what does it mean?
So usually when you have a credit system, there is a certain, so in the ECTS, in the European credit system, there is usually a part of that is lecture. Yeah, so where we have, for example, when we have a 5-credit class, so for example, we have about 60 credits lecture, and then we might have 90 credits of self work, where also is homework and things like that included. And what maybe you meant the practical specialization I mentioned, I'm not sure. Or is that that's a question? I don't remember in which context I mentioned self-study, but self-study is important in all studies, because we not only want to give you input, also teamwork. We usually have small teams sometimes where you have to do homeworks. And basically, I should mention maybe that I heard from a colleague from Berlin that they don't have exam. In our program, it's half-half. So basically, it is designed that you have about that you have half of the courses have a final exam, and the others have homework-like and presentation. So this way, we try to find a balance between theory and practice. That's also one way how we try to do that there is not too much workload in the exams and not too much workload for homework. So that's how we design this. Basically, in one semester, I think we have 3, and in the other, 2, and then it's opposite in winter semester. So basically, we have 5 main courses each semester, and it's always 2-3 and 3-2. Concerning exams and homeworks and presentation.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. And one more question from Doyin. The question is, what is meant by 3rd class semester start?
Oh, yes, because the program is quite new. And we had I always say 1st class. I don't know, maybe it's irritating. We had our 1st class starting in April. What is it now? 21? No, 22.
Okay.
Yes, 22. Exactly. Last year we had our 1st class. This year in April, our 2nd class started in April 23, and our 3rd class of the whole program. So it starts in April 24. So that's what I mean with, it's my inside joke, kind of. Nobody understands probably. So, but it's, when if you apply now, you would start in our 3rd year. So you would be kind of 3rd class of SEI.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you, Professor, very much. There are some
Thank
more
you.
questions regarding English proficiency, and I would like to suggest, dear attendees, please check out on our webpage, because we in detail mention what are the exact English requirements, also what kind of exceptions they are, and these are very technical questions that you can easily find out also on our website or on the website of the program itself. That's why I don't want to now get back to this more, and because we are already over time. Once again, I would like to thank our guests for tuning in, for your presentations, for your time, for answering questions quite comprehensively. That's always very nice to hear. And dear attendees, of course, thanks for tuning in, and thanks for your interest, for your questions. And yeah, I hope to see you on our future webinars as well. And meanwhile, if you would like to leave us feedback for today's webinar, you can also do that on our Facebook or Google pages. So yeah, once again, thanks a lot, everyone, and have a nice rest of the day. And Professor, get well soon.